Who knew, Jonesy, that our day two review would actually be an actual test match review? I woke up at 3 a.m. this morning, stuck my headphones in, just to hear Mitchell Stark and that third umpire, TV umpire review of Zach Crawley's second duck of the test match. We'll get into that a little bit later on. Listened to lunch, England 65 for 1, I think, put it back, went, had a little bit of a kip, woke up a couple of hours later, and another TV umpire, the Jamie Smith one, and then disaster for the rest of that day. What do you make of it?
Yeah, not quite as dedicated as you with the 3 o'clock wake up there. 6 o'clock for me. And again, Ash's theme, you wake up, you flick the phone on, you go to the scorecard in anticipation, hoping to see my prediction of Ben Duckett. And then just that sinking feeling of, oh no, what's gone on here? And like you say, lunchtime, we were set up nicely at lunch, 100-run lead, 1 wicket down, and then it all changed from there. And wow, but what a finish to the test match. We need to change the it's not close of play, mate, close of match. How ridiculous!
Yeah.
Day two, quite incredible. But you've got to say that's one of the all-time great innings from Travis Head.
Yeah, second fastest 100 in an Ashes. You were actually had a great view of the fastest Ashes 100, didn't you?
Did indeed, yeah. Perth, Adam Gilchrist hitting Monty Panesar everywhere, and hitting every batter everywhere. And again, he hadn't been in great form. There's some correlation there. So, Gilchrist hadn't been in great form coming into that. But those sort of batters, doesn't need much, and it might just be one shot which gets them into it. But stroke of genius as well with the Australian players and whoever came up with that decision. I could see Steve Smith gesturing. He was wanting to know if Uzi was ready. So I think Steve Smith wanted Uzi to go out there. But with him being off for his back, the choice to stick Travis Head out there, lefty for lefty, may have considered it. Marnus likes batting at 3, but also the fact the way Travis Head plays. And if he could play it almost like a one-day innings, and he's had some success with that. So, but, kudos to whoever made that decision to send Travis Head out there.
When Gilchrist was smacking everybody all around the whacker, as he was in those days, what was it like on the fielding side? I mean, you look at Stokes today, did he, are there any comparisons with what Fred did, another great all-rounder for England, and what Stokes would have done on the pitch today?
Yeah, well, I don't think we spread quite as early as what Stokes and the general theme of England does, in terms of their attack, short ball attack. So we left it a bit longer. But then once someone like that is in, there's very little you can do. They're geniuses. 2 genius innings, and so there's a bit of sort of inevitability about what they're doing. You just hope that they make that mistake. You still keep trying it, and you change your angles of attack, you change your lengths, but they keep finding a way. And that's, those 2 innings are very similar like that.
When Travis Head got Australia off the mark in that 4th innings, it was the first time in this test match it's not been 0 for 1. It's amazing, isn't it? It's like, who'd have thought that sort of thing in test cricket, you don't think that would ever happen, would you?
No, absolutely not. But there's all those little subtleties which just get you, especially this first test, is just get you that breath. I remember when I was batting, getting off the mark was massive for me. That's preparation. You'd sort of focus in on those being really heightened and aware for those first few balls. Batters hate getting ducks.
Yeah.
You saw that with Jake Weatherall. When he got his first runs, he gave a little relief, fist pump. Yeah. And then he played the batter that we sort of were waiting to see, and they actually played fairly similarly. The really good square of the wicket. They knew that our bowlers were going to try and bombard them with some short stuff, and they'd played it well. Whereas our batters trying to drive on the up and not adapting to what was coming down at them. Scotty Boland hanging it outside off stump. Okay, let's chase it. No, those 2 Aussie batters hung back, played square, knocked it around. If they pitched it up, they went for it, but around it was smart batting.
I was listening to the Love of Cricket pod with Brody and Josh Butler, and they were saying about superstitions around cricketers not eating ducks, or onion rings, around cricket.
Absolutely, yeah. I played Martin van Jaarsveld, who South African guy, played with us at Kent. Yeah, absolutely, you couldn't. You couldn't mention ducks. You couldn't eat calamari. You couldn't eat onion ring. You couldn't do any of that because, and this was days away. This wasn't
Yeah.
even in the match.
Yeah. Yeah, bowlers, just on what you said just now, do you think there's a compulsion with quicks that when the going gets tough to bang it in short and
Well, it's
not
been
be
our
disciplined
method,
with your lengths, with our quicks? Yeah.
but it's been the England our style for a few years now. We've gone in search of. That's why we picked these 90-mile-an-hour bowlers, because that extra pace can cause problems. But then when the batters now are finding ways to overcome it, difference for me in the first innings, the ball moved laterally, so we could hit those good lengths, and it was difficult to play. Top level batters, pace ultimately doesn't worry them that much.
No.
You still see certain balls. By the way, Usman Khawaja got out. That was a great ball, short
Yeah.
ball. But Travis Head today, he used the pace brilliantly. That little ramp shot for six and stuff like that. That is just smart using it, and that's my worry with the sort of, we went in with 5 quicks today. That's my worry with 4 of them. We're going for that. Well, let's just say Wood and Archer actually.
Mm-hmm.
My worry is if it doesn't laterally move, what else is in the locker?
Yeah.
These are 2 great bowlers, so I'm being pretty harsh here, but the difference for me between yesterday, day 1, they got something slight little bits out of it, whereas today didn't seem to happen. You expect a test match wicket to get better, flatter, slower over time, and I think that maybe just happened after lunch tea today, and that allowed Head to play the way he did. So our bowlers have got to think away. We were nowhere near yesterday. Yesterday, I think was just a magnificent performance by them all. I think today showed this is what happens when they have to back up.
Yeah.
Even though they only bowled 30 odd overs yesterday, you still got to go through everything today, that preparation. And I think the biggest factor was mental, in terms of their mental, sort of how healthy, not healthy, that's the wrong word, but it would have drained them a lot yesterday. After that, coming out there, bowling the way they did, that would have taken a lot of mental energy. That's what I'm after. Mental energy out of them. So backing up today, I think they were just slightly off that. So, that correlated with not quite hitting their lengths the same, not quite hitting the lines. And then, with the batters then putting them under pressure, you saw what can happen.
How do we go from, actually, is the MCG a drop-in pitch as well nowadays? It is.
Yeah, historically slow.
So how do we go from 172 all out to 106? What did the Aussies get? 132, I guess. 40 run leading they had.
You're the stat man, mate. I don't know.
Yeah. To 164 all out. To then at one point Australia were 180 for 1 or something. How does that happen? On I understand if it's day 3 or day 4 of a pitch, but this is the evening session of day 2.
Yeah. Well, you're dealing with something alive, aren't you, in a wicket? It's got growing, and I think there was a bit of live grass on it yesterday.
Yeah.
The weather looked good yesterday in Perth, notoriously quite hot. And then this, you don't put any water on grass, what happens to it? It dies off, it loses some strength. And if it's there, not proud, gripping onto the seam, especially with balls going on, people running it, had a bit more rolling, it's been lowered down cutting. So that's where you see the nature of a wicket change. And I think that's just what you saw. What you saw today was a live element of a wicket slightly changing, and that subtle change made a big difference, and it turned into what you expect an Australian wicket to be. Still has the pace and the bounce, but that you lose that lateral movement, and a batter can play well and score.
A great exponent of that, and I love a stat, as you mentioned just now, Mitchell Starc, first Australian bowler to take 10 wickets in an Ashes since?
Well, I don't know. I'm not being a great stat man. Did anyone take it in 05?
I think it was 05, yeah. It was either 05 or 06, certainly when you played.
Yeah. I have a feeling. I know, did McGrath get 10 in the first one? I know he wore his golden 500 boots, and did he match it up? I'm not sure, but yeah.
It was
No
Warney.
doubt. Warney, was it?
Yeah,
Okay.
there was
Well,
warning.
I was going to
But
say, whoever it was, I would have
yeah,
been in the 10, 100%.
most probably. But Mitchell Starc, I mean, Jordan led some bowlers and he kept the ball full. And unfortunately, the big sort of the man he got twice very early was for two ducks was Zach Crawley.
Yeah. Two similar sort of shots.
Yeah.
That flashy, and we know he plays like it, and we expect it. We just want, I suppose, a little bit different. We want to see an adaptation, and he's notorious for going really hard at it, and that's what happened today. He went really hard early. When I coached in my coaching, and I'm off to coach the Kent women after this. I talk about your contact point with the ball. Because there's a sweet area where it's under your eyes, your head's over it. You're in total control. And that's where you're looking to do it majority of the time. You watch the greats, you watch the best batters. That's where they play, in that zone, over and over and over. When you get out of form or you're searching, you get out there in front. And that's what Zach did today. He was just that little bit out in front, and because he goes hard at it, great catch. But that's what it is. So he's hard slashing, he's hard driving, he's bringing, and so when he bats well, he uses his height, he uses his to get down the wicket, but he plays it under his eyes, and that's a tiny difference between what can be perceived to be in form and out of form.
Playing it later.
Do you go chasing it? Yeah.
Flat-footed drives, though, seem to be quite common today. We lost 3 wickets for no runs, I think. Pope, Brook, and Root. 2 of those, the first 2. Pope, who was actually my pick for the man who's going to do the best today for England, or just generally, turned out to be Travis Head. Neither of us saw that coming. Flat-footed drives outside the off stump. Is that poor technique? Is that lack of form, or what is that? What core? Just it's a long question. That is fundamentally the question, but I want to take it back to your day when KP played, and he played, miles outside, and, Matthew Hayden as well. And KP was criticised a lot for saying, well, that's just the way I play, and he stuck with that all the way through. And I don't know what you guys thought, within the change rooms, because when he came off, he came off. But those, Zach Crawley, and we'll stick with him, even though, Pope and Brook did play flat-footed drives. Is that's the way I play going to be good enough to keep him in that side going forward?
Well, I thought Pope's batted nicely in this first test. To be honest, I think he's got first innings. He's got starts, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So I think he's gone about. He will be really disappointed. The one thing from listening to the radio sort of stuff of it and watching the television, they've talked a lot about where they're trying to hit it. So that good captaincy. They're trying to hit it through covers, because they, in Australia, if you try and hit the ball on the up through the covers, you're exposing that edge. And we saw it outside edge, and we saw Joe Root inside edge. And so that's that's where the bowlers, Scotty Boland, hung it outside. That 4th, 5th stump, and got the rewards from it. John Buchanan, the great Australian coach. When I was growing up, it was in Queensland. He was taking over the Queensland side, and he hasn't got a cricketer's background really. But what he thought a lot about the game, quite analytical. And I remember sort of the stories coming in that he'd worked out. He just wanted bowlers to bowl sort of 4th stump, be relentless out there, because we're bringing in danger. So that's the key, I think, is the KP was brilliant at assessing danger, and he would start by playing really straight, and that's also what I say to is coaching wise is you start with your fundamentals. You start playing straight. You're working out the lines, the legs, what's the ball doing. And as you get into your innings, you can then expand to going squarer. Because if you go square early, you're not quite used to all that. And after breaks, and that's why they say if you have a break in play, you restart, you sort of reset. You just spend you can spend less time because you've been out there batting and you know the conditions, but you still have to spend an element of time just sort of thinking about it, getting back into that zone. So I think that's the big thing for the batters, because Brisbane's going to bounce similarly. It's renowned for bouncing. And if we keep trying to slash on the up through the covers, we're going to have the same results.
So play the ball later is probably what you're saying, is it? And I
Later,
think that is
straighter.
Later, straighter. So actually more I haven't seen Travis Head's innings. I mean, I've been listening to it, and I think they, those the shots that exactly the same shots you've been talking about. Harry Brook in the Ashes when he was here before he got castigated a lot for that sort of helicopter sort of flashy thing up here when there's just no shot to be played. Playing sensible test cricket or test style cricket with aggression is probably where Travis Head was at and our batters aren't.
Yeah. And even Jake Weatherall, someone who's new to the game. His experience, he's 31 years old. He got hit on the pad his first innings, 2 balls. You couldn't really make an assessment other than he looked like he got beaten for pace. Today, he looked in control of pace and and what he did early, he took his time. He left. He let them come to him. And then he knew that, okay, anything short in here, he plays that sort of shovel to leg and it was he got runs or he ran down. Left-handers especially have that. They score a lot sort of square for me. They score square of the wicket, and that's what they did brilliantly. Right-handers, it's a different sort of danger with do that. So the old, you get the older players. They were talking leaves. Got to leave the ball. Got to leave the ball.
Yeah.
Because of the danger area. Well, that's not in the thinking.
Yeah,
with
Duckett
some of
doesn't
our
leave
batters.
anything, does he? Yeah.
No, but he's a lefty, and but he's had success with that. At least he's clear.
Yeah.
He's got clarity, and that's the other thing with batting: clarity of what you're doing.
Yeah.
If you're leaving some, if you're chasing some, there's no clarity there. You either go with one or the other, and that's what Duckett does. But Zach Crawley at the moment, I think he's choosing to go hard at them, because he knows he's got a bit of a license, and he will come off doing it at some point. And England are happy with him. They're happy with him at some point across this series. He will play a significant innings.
Yeah.
He will get them and that's what they've tasked him with doing. In the meantime, we'll be all get quite frustrated with his modes of dismissals.
Yeah.
But what's most important for Zach Crawley is that his captain and his coach, they're not getting frustrated. They're happy with him doing it. They're sending him out there and say, Zach, do what you do. We love it. At some point, you'll do something for us.
The late Dean Jones once asked me what I thought Sachin Tendulkar's best 3 shots were. And I said, cover drive, hook and pull or whatever. He said, no, it's forward defence, backward defence, leave. He said, that's what makes him a great batsman. Which is interesting as an answer, isn't it?
But they're the fundamentals. And that's, with, again, the coaching I do are coming through the age groups, through the Kent women, and where, when you do the analysis and of that, and we're looking at how we can improve and fundamentals. If you've got a great base game, the other stuff you can work from. But if you know that if someone bowls it in the area and I can cover that, that gives you confidence to go, okay, I've got that. Right, but now where am I searching for scoring? I'm searching for my width. What's my shots? And so, but Dino's right. You need a fantastic base game to allow you to do the rest, and that's probably. And England batters have got that. They wouldn't get to this level if they didn't have an unbelievable base game.
Look, that's the thing, is that obviously they're great players, to have got to the level, the skill, the dedication, all that sort of stuff. Is there a conflict between clarity and adaptability?
Geez, that's an early one for
Sunday
Sunday
morning. I should have prepped you with that one. I've
Saturday
just
morning.
It, sorry.
Wow, yeah. That's why you get the big bucks, and I just
That's why I sit in his granddad's chair, and you've got a in-century wall behind you.
It's a good question. Because clarity, Well, I suppose if I can put it in context with the second innings, and this hopefully I answer it correctly. So the second innings, you should have more clarity about how to play from first innings hindsight. And we've seen the way the pitch plays first innings. And so that's where you see adaptations happen in second innings, because you're given clarity through watching what's gone on.
Yeah.
Okay. And then through clarity, you bring in adaptability. So you then adapt what shots you're playing, what method you're using. So hopefully that answers it a bit. But clarity probably comes with what do I know? Okay, let's do analysis. Okay, right, now what do I adapt to work to that clarity.
So therefore, do you think England's batters and maybe the bowlers as well are clear going into a match as to what is expected of them and their techniques, but they're not adapting to the situation that they're facing?
Yeah, I think they could have adapted better, and that's been the criticism of Bazball, hasn't it?
Yeah.
That in situations they don't adapt, they just carry on regardless. Okay, and but when they have done well and when they have adapted well, it's been noticeable, and they've had the success from it. And that's, as a fan, our hope is that they will adapt and they won't just blindly carry on and saying this is the way we do it. So,
But
second test will be there.
But isn't that what's been driven by McCullum and Stokes? This is the way. This is the way. It's like method acting. This is the way we're going to do it. And if someone does adapt, then they're in danger of not playing it.
No, because I think they're clear with how they want them to play. They want them to be aggressive. They want them to play those shots. I think, and it was a bit of a theme of last summer, is McCullum himself, and so the team was understanding when they can go sixth gear, playing what they do.
Yeah.
And then when they need to drop it back a bit, get through a period, okay, and then come on. It's the way cricket ebbs and flows.
Mm-hmm.
So the nature of a day ebbs and flows, and the skill factor is, and the brain factor is understanding when, as a batter, it's your opportunity to flow. So go Bazball.
Yeah.
And then the flip side is understanding, hang on a minute, the bowlers have got a bit of control here. I've got to get through this guy. He's having a good spell. He's making it tough. What are my ways to get through this spell? Because the next guy that comes on may not be as successful, and that may give me my chance to sort of be more positive and go through it. But right now, right here, I have to get through this spell, and that's what we want to see as fans. Get through the hard bit now. Play your amazing stuff when it's the right time.
Yeah, I think that's the general opinion, isn't it? Now that we know what you can do when it's flat deck, and you've got your it's not necessarily you're in, but the flat deck's ball's not laterally moving, as you said, and you can play your shots. But when it is tough, are you going to dig in, to use old terminology? That photo behind you, is that you taking the catch off Casper?
It is, mate. Yeah. I sort of. We need a bit of that now. We're at that point, and it's quite poignant, I suppose. It's what the one thing that we sort of talk about and is similarities and coming off. So the England team walking off the pitch today will be devastated. They'll be looking at it, and that's how we were in 2005. We came off at Lord's and we were. We'd been heavily beaten.
Spanked,
but but thanks, mate.
Well, you won it, so we can say that's fine.
But what we did have, we had moments throughout that test and before that, and Varney got us together, and he got us together and he pointed that out and he said we've stood toe to toe because there's moments within that test match. We had showed our personalities. We'd shown the way we were going to play. And he just very, very simply said, we have to win the second test. Okay. Things happened in that second test, which helped us do that. But he focused on the positives, gave us clarity of mind to go, when we show up at Edgbaston, we show up to win. Because, if you go 2-0 down, you're dead. You're stuffed.
Yeah,
and that's where England are now.
Well, this is what we said. I thought they had to win in Perth. To get, because Gabba's going to be tough, right? So had to win in Perth. That hasn't happened, so they've got to regroup and stuff. Just we have a very loose keeper's eye section here that I don't prep you with at all. And where you as a wicketkeeper give me a view on something that's happened as if you were the keeper. Is there anything that sort of sprung to mind today that you would have gone, actually, I had a great view of that and whatever?
I think it's also something we've talked about with the DRS.
Yeah.
Oh, DRS. VAR it was today. 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, that's...
But, and the keeper's eye comes into it with the review system.
Yeah.
And especially with that, with down leg side, you should have, by the time you move, you've got a clarity and a vision has that hit what's that hit? Is it away from the hand? Hands away from the body? Is it just bat? And so there today, the Australians would have been looking to keep it for that. Yes, Travis Head was shouting, but for me, that's the bit there where DRS is brought in as you, the keeper. You become a main set of eyes for the captain as to do we or don't we go for that DRS, and today and they went for it today successfully. Smith shouldn't have walked off.
No, yeah, that didn't help. We'll come back to the TV umpire and all that sort of stuff in a second. But yesterday we spoke about how far away you are, 30 yards or so, 35 yards away. Does the keeper with the Jamie Smith one where he's tickled one down the leg side? Do you have and with the crowd and the noise, is it always the keeper that has the best view of that?
Well, I think yes, for that one down the leg side, you would have. I think so. You would have seen the daylight and the gloves and the bat away from the body.
Okay.
I think having Travis Head 2 meters away.
Yeah, exactly.
He was so confident on the noise.
He
was do that. But the other thing in terms of keeping, I started to notice today, and would have been really interesting if the Test match had gone beyond 2 days. There's a few that started to keep low. Okay. There's one that went for buys through Jamie Smith, and so that drop in pitch
that was early, wasn't
it? It started to show some signs that that if the Test match had gone on a bit more, then it could have been a tougher wicket to bat on. But we didn't quite get to that, and that's when if you've got a wicket where you're used to it flying, you're catching it reverse cup up around your chest a lot. So all of a sudden, if it's a certain length and it's in front of you, that's just that's horrific when that starts to happen.
Yeah, the TV umpire a couple of times today, Mitchell Starc when he caught Zach Crawley, reminiscent of the catch in 23, when he was disallowed. I think it was really unfair. I mean, he's caught the bloody thing, and it just as he lands on the ground, he's sort of skidded along with it. I mean, it's a catch, right? He's out. He's had control of the ball. Today, and the Jamie Smith one, where I think the ruling was the one frame after the sticker comes up, that's what it is. It is what it is, right? But I think what's interesting, and Varney actually, who's obviously, as you well know, is not short of an opinion or two, thought that there should be a time allocation for the TV umpire to make a decision. If not, it reverts to what the on-field umpire says. I think there's some value in that.
Yeah, because you don't 5 minutes is way too long. That's the criticism of VAR, isn't it? And they've tried to speed that up. And it doesn't happen that often with cricket. The bit that I didn't know and learnt today was that it's not the same system we use over here in England.
No.
It's a slightly different system. And because of that, they allow a one frame differential.
Yeah.
So that's why the ball can be well past the bat. And they were just they weren't spikes, they were murmurs, weren't they?
Yeah, the Marnus one yesterday as well.
Yeah. I think they both hit them. I think Marnus hit his as well.
Marnus hit his, yeah. I think so.
Yeah, and James Smith, he showed us that he hit it.
Yeah.
But for me, it's why is it not a standardized system around the world? Why is that's for me is where it's odd with cricket is why haven't we got the same technology? We don't have a frame differential over here.
No.
And so you get a quicker, and that's why it took so long, because he was thinking, right, well, I've got to. There's a noise, there's a sign, but it's a frame along. It's when the ball's gone beyond the bat. Over here, that'd be not out.
Yeah.
There's no sign of it when it's hitting the bat. Okay, yep, not out. Play on. But because of that differential, that sort of margin of error that they're playing with, that's elongated. And so as a third umpire, you are now thinking, hang on a minute, okay, I have to think he possibly hit it there, but it doesn't show up to there. Whoa, it's only a little scratch. Where's the benefit of the doubt?
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people would play. Benefit of the doubt with the batter, play on. He actually almost went searching for that dismissal, I thought.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas with Marnus, they went, no, not out, play on.
Not out. I've got Paul Hawkins coming on in a few weeks, who's the inventor of Hawkeye. So that'd be quite interesting to answer that very question. Why is it different systems, etc.? Because Hotspot seems to have sort of disappeared by the wayside and stuff. But I'll record that and we'll play it back and see what he says.
That's because batters learned to put Vaseline on the sides of their bats, apparently, and it didn't show up.
Yeah, exactly. Let's not go down that road, okay? Because
No.
all sorts of skeletons will come out of various cupboards. Do you want your true or false? You ready for it? Okay.
100%, aren't
I? Yeah. Yes, you are. You've had one. Very good.
I? Yeah.
So this is day 2. I've got to read it because it's quite long. Day 2 is 1982, 1983. You were how old then? 3, 4, something like that, maybe?
No, 6.
It was 6. Oh, you might remember this then because you would have been in Australia. It was the first test in Perth. It was at the Wacker. So I think it was the last time I was at the Wacker with Perth, the first test. Australia used 5 different wicket keepers in one day. True or false?
See, now I've got to think you're going these ones that they are so out there that
I'm going
they've got
more
to be
obscure,
true.
mate. Yeah.
Yeah. But then I think, where is he going to be sneaky? And actually, it was only 4.
So it's still a silly dilemma, isn't it? Yeah.
It's still a silly number, but
Specific,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you're trying to evolve and be clever, and you've come up with a good stat, and you're trying to trick me. So today I'm going false.
And you have now gone 1-1 because the answer is true.
Oh, I gave you too much credit. Sorry, mate.
You overthought it, mate. You just got with your first answer. The main key was a guy called Roger Woolley, and I think he was a South Australian. He had hay fever, and so he had to leave the field. And then a series of other people. Actually, let's go with part 2 of this. 4 other people kept temporary wicket, if you like, in the course of that day. Can you name any of them? This is 82, 83. I mean, can you name any of them, do you know?
For which side? Sorry, I wasn't.
They're Australia. Well, Australia.
First.
Yeah.
82, 83. Yeah. Who would have been playing then?
The Ashes was 81 that year, in that sort of period in England.
Yeah.
And so the follow-up.
Dougie Walters still playing? Was Dougie Walters still playing then, or was he gone?
No, I think he'd gone by then.
See, I
remember the 81 series, so this was quite easy for me. Oh, yeah, I remember him. 82, 83 was the next Ashes.
Yeah, mate. I shouldn't. No? Come on. You say it, and I'll go. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. David Hook.
Oh, actually, when I was 6, I was I'd not long left Papua New Guinea, so cricket was new to me. So yeah, I'm claiming that as my reason.
Yeah. Okay, fine. David Hooks. Bruce Laird.
Okay. Yeah.
Bruce Laird.
Yeah.
Graham Wood, the opening bat, and Kim Hughes.
Well, go on.
No, Kim Hughes. When I asked Ricky Ponting who his favourite ever player was, it was Kim Hughes. Bizarrely.
Okay.
There you go. So name dropping beautifully. What were you going to say?
Yeah. The late great David Hooks as well was renowned for a run out where he was at first slip, and I think he was playing for South Australia. He was fielding first slip. He'd had a chat with his keeper because they'd noticed, Johnny Bairstow style, that the batter, I can't remember who it is, was walking out of his crease quite quickly. Yeah. So Hooksy said to the keeper, right, next ball, I'm going to come and take the ball and run him out. And he did it.
Did he?
So he's fast bowl. He came in, cooked the ball, bang, threw the stumps down, out.
There you go. So, you see, nothing's new, is it? There was nearly a man-cat today as well. I saw. I guess
I saw that. Ridiculous. Yeah. He hadn't even left the crease.
No, it's ridiculous, isn't it? Today's MVP, I suppose, is a very short answer. I would have thought. So we'll move on. Travis Head, well done.
Yeah.
Our session game. What are you going with that? Yesterday we had a disagreement, but I was going with draw. Or was it draw England, Australia, whatever way round it was? And you went 2-1 Australia today.
So you were up, weren't you? So you said lunch was 60 for 1?
Yeah.
And so, and England had taken the wicket. We'd got to lunch 1 wicket down. So that's England's.
Yeah.
And it then fell apart. So today's 2-1. Again, 2-1 Australia. That's where I went with yesterday.
I agree with you this time, which is interesting. Regardless of whether that happens, Australia basically won 3 or 4 sessions. 4 sessions out of 6, effectively. So hence victory. Okay, so the last question was going to be tomorrow's prediction. Well, that's basically just go back to our day jobs and do what we normally do. And then next test is there's a gap, isn't there now? Because I think there's some talk of a pink ball match at Canberra prior to the next test, which is in about 10 days or so, I think.
Yeah, that's right. And there was chat on the radio that they're not sure how many of these players will play with it. I know that the Lions are playing in Australian 11 currently.
Yeah, and they've sent Potts,
so,
Bethel, and somebody else to go off and play in it as well, which is interesting.
Yeah,
I think.
just to give them match time just in case. But Bashir stayed, didn't he? But but there's talk, and it was one of those ones where it was a few of them a bit baffled that the story was coming out that not many of them were going to play in this pink ball warm up. So you'd think it could rehash that. Are we prepared? Is the preparation good enough? So if we go from this test match where you'd argue the batters weren't they weren't ready to play on that wicket. Lilac Hill, where they played before this, doesn't do anything like what this test has done.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then if there's no preparation, if people skip this pink ball match before the next test match, they're opening themselves up a bit. So maybe they'll do a bit of a rethink. And, I don't know all the circumstances, only what I heard briefly on the radio when I was listening, making up my bacon sausage sandwich, as you know, this morning.
Having been to the butcher's early doors as well.
Butcher's closing early today. He's got a family wedding, so I had to get up early.
No, it's probably wise. Your mates from Australia, your mates have gone there. Any news that we need to update anybody on?
Well, they were in a corporate box today.
Okay. Cold sandwich.
Yeah, they were well and truly enjoying themselves. One of the guys there dabbles a bit in gambling, and he'd well and truly paid for the corporate box with his winnings because he predicted that Australia would get less than 350 or something. So they've got plenty of money to enjoy themselves for these next 3 days. But it will be, what do all the Barmy Army do now?
Yeah.
Do they
go to Jen's bar?
Request? Or should they play a one-dayer on day 5 or something? Because you've got the revenue loss is huge as well.
Yeah, it must be. Yeah, it must be enormous.
The actual Perth itself revenue, in terms of there'll be so many now in the city centre, in the bars, golfing, on the beaches,
but not in the ground.
But in the ground, because they would have ordered, and that's the thing, that's why there's talk of should we go 4-day test matches, because quite often the 5th day doesn't happen, but these test grounds have to account for it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, although it's a win, it's a disaster for the finances.
Because the cost is the same, the security and all that sort of right? But the beer situation was sorted, was it? As far as you know, the Optus provided.
Yeah, I think in the corporate box they were happy today.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I did. Yeah, so there's some pictures. There's some pictures being sent back, which best left to my phone. But they're having a good time. Let's just say that.
I think after yesterday's beer ran out before 12 o'clock or at 12 o'clock, I think the Aussie Tourist Board should change their strap line from "Where the bloody hell are you?" to "Where the bloody hell's my lager?" I've been practicing.
Oh my gosh, that's so bad.
Oh, terrible. Which is good though, isn't it? Because that's a great place to finish. Well, I thought we would be talking for longer, but it's only been a couple of days. England got hammered, and let's regroup and we'll do a preview show or a chat before the start of the second test.
Yes, mate. Look forward to it. I've got to go off and coach my Kent women now and teach them how to lock in.
Lock in.
Straight,
under your eyes.
Play straight, defend.
Exactly.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. No ramp shots. Thank you. Not yet, anyway. Cheers, mate. I'll speak to you soon.
All right, mate.
Bye.
Will do.